But then I just have some variables here that I didn't have the scope open to be a little more global. So I defined them a little higher. So there's a bunch of strings. And I have this is where I'm actually creating a connection. Set MS-SOAP equal to create object MS-SOAP dot SOAP client. That's in the registry. I downloaded the DLL and I installed it. Now in the registry I have this SOAP thing. So I'm using the .NET stuff. I'm using the Microsoft stuff. I have other demos, but we'll look at this one first. So now we go back to our button here. And we do some UI stuff. Current document. This start is just a timer. So I start the timer here in a second. I collect the WSDL URL. I collect the method you want to call. I collect the parameter you want to call. I start the timer. So that's my second timer going on. I then call connect. What the heck is that? Well, and by the way, where did I get this code? Well, it's simple. I went to the Microsoft site and I said, how do you use the SOAP toolkit? And they said, here's how you do it in VB. Is it cool? Cut, paste. That's where this code came from. So I look really smart. Okay, they put a function called connect. And look, they even did error handling. I never did that. Because I'm a bad programmer. We should always do error handling. And all this does, very short, all of it, is it connected? Remember I said it calls the WSDL file only once? And then you call it again and again. So it checks to see, do I have all this information in memory about this web service? So that's all it's doing here. If it doesn't have it, then it does a MS-SOAP, remember there's an object we created, has a method called MS-SOAP init, and you give it the WSDL file. So it goes back and rereads the WSDL file. That's all the connection string is doing. Then look at error handling. See if I could use a proxy. So this code all came, again, directly from VB. I just stole away, shamelessly. So we go back to our button. We go back to our button, click, there we go. So that was a connect. So it calls a connect. If it has to do something, it does something. Otherwise, it just ignores it. And then, wait a minute, what's going on? You're already saying UI.field append text. You don't have any answers yet, Gary. How can we call that? Well, here's a call method in there. So I'm saying, in my results, I want you to put the result of this function called call method. Here's call method. Again, a very long, complicated program. What happens here is, I have my error handling thing here, and this is cool. Can anyone guess what these 3 lines of code does? I just like this. And by the way, I use this in my other stuff a lot. Okay, I'll tell you what it is. It's a semi-advanced topic. This is a string variable, right? And I'm assigning that string variable this big string here. That big string is actually code. This is load strip code. Okay, when I stole it was VB code. It says my call, another variable, actually that's the function name, equals convert to string MS-SOAP dot. Well, after the dot, I don't know the method I want to call yet, right? MS-SOAP has no idea what method Gary wants to call. But I have to say MS-SOAP dot, the method name, to call that method. So I actually collected that parameter and put it in a variable called my method. So whatever he typed in, get price quote, get weather text, ends up being evaluated in there. And that last piece with the trim, that's where the argument is. That's where I put in the 1 and I type and I hit enter. So what I'm doing is constructing a piece of load script or a piece of VB as a string. So I construct this piece of code and then I execute it. What does that do? It actually compiles and runs that piece of code. That way it can be dynamic. This is sort of a little aside. It's just fun coding stuff. And then I return the value of the function call back to call method my call. So whatever this MS-SOAP call with the method name that you put in the form gets run with the parameters that you put in the form, all gets compiled at once. That's where I put the event. So that result gets put on my form, and here I put my seconds for my timer. So how long it took. An agent. The agent does nothing but give you back the WSDL file. I was focused on making this work in 5. So this is one way to do it in 5. So you can even look at that agent that just returns WSDL files. We'll look at all this, like I said, in painful detail. So I call the WSDL file. The .NET DLL is reading all the information. It tells it where the URL is to the web service itself. It calls the web agent. The agent does whatever I want it to do. You can check the status of your workflow document. It could do, well, we'll run a better demo here in a second. So we'll leave that up. And we'll go to the code. But first I want to finish a couple slides. I'm going to start a server. Should have done this before. And while that's loading, I'm going to run another demo. And this is when I really wish I had a faster, better machine. So notice I'm firing up Visual Basic. Now, web services are hard to demo because there is no client. I mean, as far as client, there's no UI. Web services have no UI at all. There's no web pages. There's no browser. So how do you demo? If I write a program that uses a web service and I have to write my own UI. So here I wrote one VB. And it's essentially the same, well, it's better, but it does the same as what you just saw from Lotus script in Notes. But this comes from one thing, so we'll run that. Okay, so here's my Git quote, and I'm going to pick my favorite site first. My hard drive is really flailing for the loading my server. Come on. I know you can do it. There it goes. It took 11 seconds. Let's run it again. It took 0.9 seconds. Again. 1 second. Now what am I doing? What is going on here? You'll see after my first call, my average is about a second. This web service is in Canberra, Australia. It's running on a Linux box in one of the Sam's living rooms. In his living room, he's got this Linux box. He's got a Domino server. And how did he get this web service on there? I mailed him the NSF. He had to sign the agent. Then he went and edited all the text on me. So, and what am I doing? I'm passing in this parameter which says, hey, I currently have document number 2. Don't give me that one again. Generate a random number that's not 2 and call that up. So it's real simple. And okay, there's only 6 or 7 documents in the database. I'm very lazy in demos and putting a lot of data in. So you say, well, that's not that good. Well, let's do this. Okay, now we just read the names at NSF. And I'm, again, very lazy, so we're going to have this random function. And of course, I didn't put the data in for all these fictitious people. And this only has this has like 40 people in it. So it's a little bit bigger, but notice my response time still is around a second. I have several customers that are using this exact demo. Like I say, they stole it from me, I gave it to them, in production in their companies to expose their directory for programs. So they have programs that pull up people's email addresses. If the program needs to know it, someone's name, it needs to know their email address. Let's say it's going to send them mail or something, and they're going to do it in Microsoft world. They're using this exact application. So let's take a look at the server side. Remember, the server side is the exciting part. So let's go take a look. Oh, I should probably do this. Approve to you. Here's Advisor Magazine. I'll probably get in trouble for doing that one. They hosted it for me too. How do they do it? I mailed them the NSF, they signed the agent. And this guy's really funny. Jack is his name, and this is in Stowe, Massachusetts. And I actually think it's on a customer's server that he admins for them, they don't know it. But look at that response time. Oh wait, let's run it